Hello, everybody. Good evening. Please give us a confirmation, whoever is here on chat, saying the audio and video is working fine. And we'll get started after that. Please give us some confirmation stating the audio and video is working fine. So I'll keep talking for a moment just so that just so as to confirm if everything works fine. Meanwhile, please post in the chat box if audio and video is fine and if you're able to hear me and see me clearly. I'm waiting for some feedback to see if audio. Okay, I've got a feedback from Arvind M stating the audio and video is fine. Thank you, Varun Kumar. Thank you, Rabina. Okay, so audio and video looks fine. Thank you guys for the feedback. Good evening, everybody. Once again, thank you for joining us. We've got Team IBS, ICFAI Business School here. We've got three professors, Dr. Harish, Professor Venkatraman, and Professor Muralidhara, who will be sharing three different aspects of MBA journey, right from admissions until the place where post-career MBA opportunities are going to be discussed. So that's the whole idea of the session. The session is going to be split across three parts, and each of the professors will be taking one specific aspect and discussing about it. After the end of all three discussions, we'll have an open Q&A where you can post your questions on chat and we'll answer as much as possible. So first, we'll start with Professor Dr. Harish. Dr. Harish has done his B.Tech in Electrical Engineering from IIT Madras, after which he went on to pursue his MBA from IIM Calcutta. He also holds a doctorate from ICFAI University Dehradun. So he's now Deputy Campus Head and Academic Coordinator at ICFAI Business School Bangalore. He's been working here for the last 15 years. His the primary courses that are being handled by him are on the topics of marketing and business strategy. He's previously worked with Tata Economic Consultancy for 20 years and also with Maruti Suzuki. Thank you for joining us, Professor Harish. Good to have you here, and over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Giridharan. Yeah. Welcome. Good evening to all of you. So as you have already been introduced, so I am Harish and I am the academic coordinator at ICFAI Business School, Bangalore. Yes, sorry. So I think most of you who are viewing this are aspirants for a management admission, and you are already in the process of making your preparations for getting into a management institute. I think some admission tests are also already over, and you are doing all that is necessary. You have done a lot of research. You know the way you are heading, and you are seeking coaching or other kinds of inputs wherever necessary. And I'm not trying to substitute all of that in this limited amount of time, nor am I planning to give you a magic pill which will get you admission into a good management institute. All that I am trying to do is to set a context and give you a broad picture. What is management? What is it that you need to be? So what would you be trained for? What would a management institute look for in a candidate when considering for admissions? And broadly, how you should approach it and prepare for it. So I'm just giving you a broad picture along these lines. So to make things clear, we are focusing in the context of getting admission and subsequently having other developments in a postgraduate management context. we are talking mainly of a full-time 2-year postgraduate program, which may be called MBA or PGDM or Pgpm, or there could be other terminologies also. We are not looking at BBA, nor are we looking at a short-term management program or an executive MBA of 9 months and so on. This is just to make things clear, although what we talk may apply to several other contexts as well. Now let us look at the definition of management. There are any number of definitions. I have taken one by Peter Drucker, who is a very famous person, something like the father of modern management. So he was in fact considered as somebody who developed management theory soon after the Second World War and thereafter. So he says management is a multi-purpose organ that manages a business, manages managers, and manages work and also work. As you can see, it manages a business. Again, management can happen in various contexts. We are looking at a business context. So managing business, managing managers, okay, managing workers, and also the work itself. In essence, you could say it is managing maybe men, materials, money, and so on, if you want to put it in simple terms. It is something which has a very diverse connotation to it. So if you have to manage people as well as money, as well as other kinds of resources, get some output, and so on, do a business, you require a variety of skills and capabilities. That is what this definition indirectly suggests. Let us now move on. When asked what does management comprise, what are the management functions? These are the terminologies that we come across in most of the books or other kind of sources that we have. So it says planning, organizing, staffing, leading, evaluating, controlling. Okay. A common thing one also says planning, organizing, leading, and evaluating. Often remember with the acronym POLE, POLE. So planning, organizing, leading, and evaluating. As you can see, if you were to trying to see here, it suggests planning and organizing. You have to be somewhat analytical, systematic, whatever, those kind of things. Staffing, leading, you have to be able to interact with people, motivate them, get work out of them, and so on. Evaluate and control, again, certain aspects relating to your own personal capabilities, certain aspects also relating to maybe numbers and so on. This is broadly what comes out of these terminologies here in terms of what is it that one needs to have, what capabilities one needs to have in order to do all this. Next, other way of looking, what are the management functions in terms of various departments that may be there in an organization? We all know this. Maybe purchase, production or operations, marketing, sales, information systems, human resources management, finance, accounts, and so on. We are aware. Here again, I want to clarify that even if I am in, say, in finance, it doesn't mean only knowledge of accounts or something related to finances adequate for me. Okay, I need to know that, but in addition, I also need other kinds of capabilities. Okay, same thing applies to other things also, whether it is marketing or human resources management also. Here we are talking about a knowledge about or the work related to a specific domain or specific subject or department in an organization. It doesn't mean knowledge about that alone is adequate. This clarifies that a little better. Essential qualities of a good manager is a professional and general knowledge, personal skills and attributes, social and behavioral skills. These are the three broad categories. There could be very long lists in many sources, but this is what we can see are the three broad categories. Let me explain what is meant by this. Professional knowledge. This is very, so whatever it is, if somebody is a marketing manager for FMCGs, he need to know everything about FMCG products, about marketing of them, the competitors that are there in the market and so on. That professional knowledge one needs to have. Similarly, an accountant needs to have accounting knowledge. In addition, some general knowledge about the business, economy, whatever, the other things are also essential. These are, one could say, these are absolute necessities, some fundamental necessities. You could call them as hygiene factors. Without having knowledge about the work that you are supposed to do, without having a general awareness of the environment in which that particular function or whatever is operating, you cannot function well. So that is something like a hygiene factor. In addition, we have two other categories. One, I have said, is personal skills and attributes. This may be what kind of a person am I? Am I a confident person? Do I manage my time well? Am I well motivated myself? So what is my attitude towards various things from a personal angle? Who am I? What kind of a person am I? The other one is social and behavioral skills. Okay, how do I interact with other people? How do I communicate? Am I able to motivate? Am I able to guide, lead? Okay, and get along with people. So these are the two dimensions. One you could say is a psychological dimension, the personal skills and attributes, and the other one you may want to call them as sociological. The first one, professional and general knowledge, maybe you could want to call it subject knowledge, or knowledge of the work that you are to do or whatever. So these are the three broad categories. Now this is the context. Now we will see how this goes further. This is broadly the selection process components. So aptitude test, a group discussion, micro presentation is not very common, but personal interview. Of course, different institutes have either two of these or three of these, or some may have aptitude test and a personal interview, whatever, there could be variations. But broadly, these are the four. And with aptitude test, group discussion, and personal interview being the most common. Okay. So let us see what is it that these things try to do and how we need to look at it and how we can prepare for them. Aptitude test components. Let us see this: verbal ability, reading comprehension, quantitative aptitude, data adequacy and data interpretation, logical reasoning, general knowledge. Different aptitude tests, some have three of these components, some have four, some have all six. There are variations. Now, if we see verbal ability and reading comprehension, this is about communication. Okay, one is maybe your ability to listen, and though you may not be listening, but seeing something which is given to you in writing or in a screen or whatever. So it is your ability to understand, ability to communicate, your language skills. As you can see, quantitative aptitude, numerically, are you able to deal with numbers? Some of it is logical reasoning, that is your own, how analytical you are, how your critical thinking, your creativity. So these are, and of course, general knowledge. We talked of professional knowledge and general knowledge and so on. So these are the broad components. Essentially, this test is also trying to see at this level, okay, as you are today, how good are you in all these? I will give one hint here, because different aptitude tests have different number of these components and also have different weightages. To the extent feasible and practical, suppose some test may have more weightage for verbal ability and reading comprehension. If you are good at that, you could focus on preparing for that, assuming that other things remaining the same. Suppose you're very good at numbers and one of those admission tests gives the more importance to quantitative aptitude, you can try to do better there and get a high rating or score or whatever. This is just a suggestion. It doesn't mean that it is always implementable, or it can be implemented to the exclusion of other parameters that may come into play. It is also suggested focus on a limited number of admission tests, okay, so that you are not scattered trying to prepare for too many of them. Next, group discussion evaluation parameters. As you can see, initiative, leadership, and convincing skills. You are aware of all this. Listening on clarity of communication, voice modulation, knowledge, analytical. Again, if you see this, what it is trying to see is some of these are related to how you are able to get along with others. Some are about your own, say, analytical skills or time management, how quickly or in the optimum time you are able to express things meaningfully. Okay, and even knowledge and relevance of content. In this way, the subject knowledge, the knowledge of the topic that has been given to you. Again, it boils down to those three dimensions that we saw. So preparing for a group discussion. So given this, read the newspaper daily. Okay. So these are obvious to you, but I would say you should have this as some kind of a checklist and see whether you are doing this and whether you are emphasizing on what area you are weak. Compile a list of GD topics, talk before a mirror on popular topics, practice in small groups, select clothes, footwear, etc. that you will use there in advance, read about GDs, watch videos of GDs. So these are the things that you could do. Again, depending on what you need to give more emphasis on. Suppose you are very good at talking, okay, you have no problem talking, but you are not very conversant with the day-to-day happenings and so on. You will do not know the kind of topics that will come. You will not have content to speak. Then probably the first two things is what you should concentrate on. Suppose you know what the day-to-day happenings. You are a regular reader of newspaper. Okay, you have a lot of practice on various popular GD topics, but you are not good at speaking. Probably you need speaking practice. Suppose you are also good at speaking, but you hesitate to speak in a group. Then you probably need to practice in small groups and tell the group members, you keep on talking, let me see how I'll be able to butt in and make a impact in the conversation. So although this I have given a compact checklist here, you may have to focus on what is more important for you. What is the area that you need to focus on? And you should do that diligently and well so that you are balanced across all these things that are required, which again, as I said, covers the three different aspects of what a manager requires. In this case, what a prospective manager or a prospective management student requires. Let us look at personal entry evaluation pattern parameters. You again see communication skills, logical thinking, self-confidence and body language, flexibility and adaptability, attitude, aptitude, and aspiration. So these sometimes there may be questions on your UG subjects. Okay. So there again, the objective is not to test the knowledge of what you studied in UG. They would obviously ask you which was your favorite subject, or what are you good at, which topic do you know. And once you acknowledge this was my favorite topic or whatever, they may ask you questions about it. That is more to see how serious a student were you, not really to test the knowledge of what you studied in your UG class. So that tells you what kind of a person you are in terms of taking your work or whatever is given to you seriously. Okay, so here again, you can see things like communication, logical thinking. Some aspects are related to interpersonal things. Certain things are about your own personality. Certain things are about the knowledge that you possess. Obviously, there'll be various questions that test how aware you are about happenings around you and so on. So these are again the things that are tested. So this again, I have tried to give a list of what is it. People may give very long lists of all kinds of questions that may come and so on. But these are typically what you should be prepared for. Tell me something about yourself. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Why do you want to do an MBA? What do you plan to do after an MBA? Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? Behavioral questions. In this kind of a situation, how would you react? Questions on general knowledge, maybe questions on UG subjects. You choose a particular subject or topic which you can say, I am good at this or whatever, so that you prepare for something very specific. I would say it is very important. There are no standard answers to tell me something about yourself, reason, and so on. See, the soft questions you really need to go over very well and see, refine your answers to them and be prepared to answer them well. There are no standard answers for these soft questions. So again, have this checklist. See again which weighty, where is it, what is it that you need to give more emphasis on in your preparation. Then, at the end of it all, I would say selecting the right business school. If this business school selects you, you also select, or you at least decide which institutes to apply for. Okay. So again, I have made out some kind of a list. Acceptance requirements. Okay. Am I likely to qualify? Do I have whatever is required to get into that institute in terms of whatever criteria they have, maybe the kind of scores that they expect, whatever. Okay, so acceptance requirements is one. Location and cultural aspects. Some people want to be near to their hometown. Somebody want to go far away from their parents and live independently. Some want to go to a big city because they've lived in a small city, whatever. You want to be in a familiar environment, want to go into a new environment. These things are there. Financial aspects is another this thing. Academics, pedagogy, extracurriculars, what kind of faculty, students, and so on. How are the placements alignment with my goals? If I am seeking a career in a particular kind of career, is that institute having more jobs in that particular area? What are the future prospects after doing that, apart from getting an immediate job? Maybe reputation, rankings, reviews, feedback from friends or for past alumni or whatever. So these are some half a dozen categories of inputs that you will take. And depending on your temperament, what is it that you are looking for, you will see what is the right business school for you, the basket of business schools which you will aim for. Is that is what I would say. Again, there is no standard answer what you should do. There may be merits in going to a faraway place, merits in being in a nearby place, somewhere like parents say, I don't want to send my daughter anywhere beyond 100, 200 kilometers from here. And if you are that daughter, you have to go by it. So if your parents say so. So there could be different kinds of constraints. So, and also opportunities. So you'll have to choose the business school that you are going to attempt or try to get admission into, depending on your personal context, your aspirations, and your inclinations, and so on. So, let me hope that all of you, those who are aspiring to get into a good management institute, do get into a good management institute. So, wish you all the very best. Thank you very much.
Giridharan, you have to unmute, please.
Sorry. So I just forgot to unmute. Thank you for pointing out, Professor. So now we've gotten into a management institute. We have attended group discussion, personal interview, and things seem to be going fine. Now we are into a management institute, and Professor Muralidhara will continue now talking about how to make the best use of the management program and what best we can gain from it. Just to give a brief intro about Professor Muralidhara, he's a mechanical engineering and he has done his Pgdm from IIM Bangalore. Noteworthy mention is that he's a gold medalist from IIM Bangalore. He's been a chartered financial analyst. He's worked with several industries for 28 years and more. And he has also worked as the Dean of Case Research Center at IBS Hyderabad. Now he works as the director and campus head at IBS Bangalore. He has authored and co-authored several research papers and more than 150 case studies in management. He has been a jury for a number of competitions and a reviewer for many international conferences. Thank you once again, Professor. Thank you for being here. And over to you, Professor.
Thank you, Mr. Giridharan. Can you hear me, all of you?
Yes, sir. The audio is fine. The video is fine. You're good to go.
Can you all hear me? You can hear me?
Yes, sir. We can. I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. You're good to go, sir. I can hear you. I hope everything is fine at the YouTube end as well. Yeah, sir. Audio and video seem to be fine, sir. You're good to go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can see you as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, can hear you.
So you can go ahead.
Yes. Okay, fine. Okay. So you all worked hard to get into a good business school, and you are going to invest substantial amount of money, as well as, the most importantly, 2 years of your time in completing the program. Now, how do you get the best out of these 2 years? That's what I'm going to speak to you now. So let us focus on what you can expect to get out of your 2 years of studies. At the end of your program, you can expect to earn broadly 3 important things: economic capital, intellectual capital, and social capital. Economic capital is in the form of a good job that you will get with a good salary, your dream job, and which provides you a good earning capacity for a length of time. Intellectual capital in the form of knowledge and skills. You can hope to acquire domain knowledge in various subjects, as well as various skills that are required to succeed in a business environment. Typically, business schools follow a semester system or a trimester system. In the first year, typically you have core subjects, that is the subjects in the core functional areas: HR and OB, finance, operations and IT, systems, marketing, communication, economics. And in the second year, you will be studying, specializing in specific areas of your interest. And you will also have certain capstone courses like business strategy, which will you'll be integrating various subjects that you have learned. Now, we will also learn subjects like business ethics and corporate governance, which are equally important in today's world. Now, the focus of this is broadly how to manage resources, as Dr. Harish has already explained to you, how to manage stakeholders, how to manage your customers, the society, the employees, government, shareholders, investors, suppliers, etc. What are the skills that you can learn and practice during your MBA program? Analytical skills, decision-making skills, interpersonal skills, communication skills, convincing ability, listening, then teamwork, leadership, organizing, planning, event management, and many more. And these are all important skills that Dr. Harish mentioned to you earlier that you'll be requiring as a manager. And you'll also learn time management, critical thinking, and many more skills. Now, in addition to this, you'll also learn one more important thing. You must have heard of the term helicopter view or a 30,000 feet view. This is something important for a manager, a management student to learn. This is the ability to look at situations from a macro perspective. And in addition to looking at it from a 30,000 feet macro perspective, you also need to look at the details. So this is similar to looking at a forest and the trees. As a manager, you will be faced with situations where you will have incomplete information or ambiguous situations. Now, this is something you will be continuously learning, exposed to in a business school. Many of the reputed business schools follow the case study discussion approach as a major pedagogic method. And this will help you develop many of the skills that I mentioned earlier. In addition to the providing you a glimpse of the real life situations that you'll be facing as a manager, you'll also get to know the practices as well as challenges faced by managers in organizations in different sectors, in different geographies, as well as companies of different sizes. And you will also have exposure to different leaders, how they have made decisions in different situations. To get the best out of these case discussions, prepare well and participate actively in these discussions. So you need to be an active participant and also listen to your peer group. You'll remember some of these case studies many years after you have completed your program. That's what many of our students tell us. And you'll also learn how to integrate various knowledge subjects that you have studied, the concepts that you have studied in solving a business situation or a problem. During your course, you will find that you will be faced with multiple pulls in different directions, and you'll be asked to devote time for various subjects and assignments from different professors. Now, this will help you to learn how to manage your time and how to prioritize. And this is extremely important in you for when you go to an organization and work as a manager. And one important thing that you have to learn, that don't get pressurized by these multiple pressure points. You have to learn yourself to stretch yourself, go beyond whatever you think are your abilities, and be ready to be challenged. That is one of the best things that you learn in a business school. Now let us look at the social capital that you will earn. During your stay in the campus of any business school, apart from the opportunities to work in groups or on projects, you will also be able to do a lot of peer learning. That means people come from different backgrounds. They would have worked in different industries, they come from different geographies, and you will be able to interact with them and learn from each other. This is an important component of learning. And you will also be able to develop your network. This is a major benefit that you will get in a business school. You will also join the group of alumni once you complete your program successfully. This will be extremely useful to you throughout your career. In a business school, much of the learning happens outside the classroom. So take time to participate in all the activities that are provided to you in any business school. Participate in all the co-curricular activities and extracurricular activities. And clubs. Take leadership positions in clubs as well as team positions in clubs. These will be good additions to your resume. When the recruiter looks at candidates, they'll be looking at all these aspects. One of the important components of MBA programs in good business schools is the summer internship program. If you don't have work experience, this is an opportunity for you to get exposure to an organization, meet, interact with people in the industry. Use this stint to learn about industries, organizations, and the environment, and apply concepts to real-life situations. Now, the internship may also lead you to a pre-placement offer. So it is good to take it very seriously and get the best out of it. Now, this is a very good opportunity to get exposure to different organizations and industries. The most important thing for you to remember is to keep an open mind and be always open to learn from all corners. From all quarters, you should be ready to learn. Keep abreast of developments that is happening in the environment through regular reading, which Dr. Harish mentioned to you. That is not only for admission, also during the program, keep abreast of developments. These 2 years will open up new vistas to you, make a big difference to your career, and put you on a different trajectory altogether. Make the best out of these 2 years. And one of the most important things that I want to emphasize, and that is particularly relevant in today's environment, you should be capable of learning how to learn, because today industry requires people who are capable of lifelong learning. So you should learn yourself. That is one of the most important things. Don't wait for others to teach you. So this is an important thing that will come handy to you when you go to the industry. The industry today requires flexibility and adaptability. So use every opportunity, work in different teams, work in teams of people coming from different backgrounds of different nature, so that you are flexible enough to work with any kind of team in an organization. And you should also develop the agility to quickly change things, learn new things, and adapt to the new environment. And also make the best use of learning about technology. Learning about technology is extremely important irrespective of whatever specializations that you may have. Now, another important thing that you should learn and practice is marketing your idea. So when you go to an organization, you may have wonderful ideas, but how do you market to your bosses, the top management, and sell your idea and implement it? That is what it will give you brownie points. And most important thing, keep reading, utilize the library. Many of the reputed institutions have excellent libraries, collection of books. Read a variety of books is going to expand your horizon. And also take opportunities to participate in any community related activities. This will also give a very good addition to your resume. And keep abreast of trends and how to anticipate trends. This is an important thing that you require in today's world. How things are changing, you should be capable of addressing these trends proactively. So that's about how you can get the best out of your MBA study program. Now I hand you over to Professor Venkatram.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you for that wonderful thing. There are quite a few useful aspects that all the B school aspirants who might want to get into B schools are hopefully getting out of it. Those who are watching it now, please keep your questions ready once the session is over. That is, once Professor Venkatraman also completes what he has to offer to us. We'll take in questions and answer the relevant ones for sure. So keep your questions ready, post them once the session's done, towards the end of the session. Welcome, Professor Venkatraman. Just to give a brief about Professor. Professor Venkatraman is currently the Deputy Director of Placements at IBS Bangalore. He's a mechanical engineer, so am I. And he has an MBA in Operations Management. He's also a gold medalist in his engineering program from Maruti University. He has done his MBA from Bangalore University, where he also emerged out to be the university rank holder again. Professor Venkatraman has an overall experience of around 43 years, of which 26 years are in industry and the rest are with the academia. He has worked in senior positions in various top companies in the areas of operations, quality, and projects. Now at IBS Bangalore, he teaches in the area of operations management. Welcome, Professor. Thank you for joining us once again, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Giridharan. And let me start sharing my presentation. Yeah, there we go. Good evening, aspiring managers. It's wonderful to be here this evening, talking to all of you. And as introduced by Giridharan, I'm with the ICFAI Business School Bangalore and head the placement department. Now we come to the interesting part of job and career. I've arranged my presentation in basically two sections. I'm going to talk about what exactly the recruiters look for while coming for campus and offering a job. And the part B would talk about the different sectors and possibly what skill sets are required for those sectors based on the experience of being in the placement department for close to a decade now. So let's start with this cardinal principle. If you want to plan for your job or career at the end of 2 years in any management program you do, better you start your preparation from day one, so to say, and be well informed. This was brought out by my colleagues, Dr. Harish and Professor Muralidhara. Be well informed about the current affairs, about business, about what is happening around, because you're all managers, so you are expected to do that. And think from the recruiter perspective, what do you mean by that? Supposing you are going to your college to recruit talent, what is that you look for, right? From that angle, if you look at that, that sort of help you to start preparing. Yes, I'm going to be good in those things. What I would look at others if I'm going to hire them for my company and go by the KSA principle. I'm sure all of you would have heard about the term KSA, knowledge, skills, attitude, period. This is exactly what the recruiter wants. Talking about knowledge, obviously it is going to be your domain knowledge, When I say domain knowledge, your concepts, basics, and fundamentals. Conceptually, how clear you are. That's what is more important. It's not a question of writing an examination. No. Placement interviews are not like writing an examination, not at all. It's more like your basic concepts, your understanding and grasp. More than that, are you in a position to apply the knowledge to a particular situation? The questions generally in the interview are not bookish. I mean, I'm just picking an example. For BCom students will be able to relate better. They're not going to ask you what are bad debts. No. They will ask you a question. If you take you as a branch manager in our bank, how do you go about in recovering those bad loans or bad debts? So that makes you think, apply your learning, and look at a practical way of doing that. And obviously, you should have a good understanding of the profile, what the company is offering, about the company itself, its competitors, and sector. So that's about knowledge. So this is something like, this comes first. It's not negotiable, not at all. So this is the fundamental requirement to get a job. Then coming to skills, the S part, companies hire for skills and talent of the candidates. Now, the recent studies, especially one done by Deloitte, shows very clearly there is a tectonic shift towards hiring for talent and skills. This is not to say, don't get me wrong, this is not to say qualification is not important. It is. But having said that, during the interview process, the interviewer is convinced that you are going to bring to the table a certain skill set, you get the job. I mean, you're being the tallest among the equals. Obviously, they are going to look beyond marks, grades, and CGPA. CGPAs are important, no doubt about that. Don't get me wrong again. But it's your skills and talent, and how are you going to present yourself in an interview that's going to get you the job. Now, the skills can be broadly categorized as hard skills and soft skills. The basic difference is the hard skills are learnable. Obviously, they are teachable, measurable abilities. The examples, what you see on the screen, like, Excel. I'm sure all of you would be doing your Excel course in your undergrad programs as of now. Proficiency in Excel, please take this very, very seriously, very seriously. In fact, our campus head, Professor Muralidhara, used to insist on this Excel should be used while even teaching a subject. So that's the importance of Excel, and recruiters insist for that. Some more examples like Tableau, Power BI, the R program, Python, analytics. More than that, if you can do some certification programs, your CV is going to look good. So please keep this in mind, along with the curriculum, what your faculty members are going to offer in whichever postgraduate college you are going to be in. On your own, you should do some certification programs in all of the above, so that you have got something to show as a skill, which perhaps will serve you as a competitive advantage when you are going to compete with your own friends and classmates. The other one is, talking about some of the certification programs, I thought I'll make a quick mention of that. Please take it seriously, because this is going to give you the confidence, and this also will make your CV look good compared to others. For finance students, look at doing some NISM certifications. NISM stands for National Institute of Securities Market. They are into mutual funds, financial planning. You get a good grasp of that. Also, NCFM courses, National Certification in Financial Market. This is for investment management, wealth management, those type of things, financial markets. That helps you. These are the things what companies look for, recruiters look for when they come for hiring. Do you have that spark in you, that initiative in you, which makes you go beyond the structured curriculum what the faculty members offer in the classroom? Somebody is going to be the analytics, something like data analytics and Python is going to help you. As I told you before, data visualization, a huge tool with Power BI, Excel, no doubt. If you're going to be in marketing, maybe some Google AdWords certification, digital marketing courses, there are plenty of them. Financial modeling helps. And of course, more recently, we got this artificial intelligence and machine learning, AI and ML. So please do this. These don't cost much. and they can be easily done in 3 months or 4 months. You get a good certificate from a reputed organization. So that's going to help you with your knowledge as well as your CV looks richer. And you can also look at IBM edX online courses. Most of them are free, good ones, not long duration. Please do this right from day one. Moving on to the other type of skill, which is called the soft skills. See, these are all basically traits or characteristics, right? So this differs from person to person. Hard skill is something like everybody can take a certification program, clear successfully, get particular grade. So it doesn't make a difference in that sense. But soft skills, it differentiates person A from person B from person C. Am I able to communicate effectively? That's a fundamental part of that. It goes beyond that, of course. Ability to work in a team, taking people along. Are you able to do that? Networking skills, relationship building. Are you able to, resolve a conflict? So these traits or characteristics of a person, this again creates a very positive impression with the recruiter when he or she comes for recruitment. Of course, the third one is the A in the KSA, attitude. This is basically a psychological construct. It characterizes a person. So in a sense, I may have the knowledge, I may have the skill, but if the recruiter does not see me having the right attitude, that's going to break my entire opportunity of getting a job or the offer. So some of the examples could be ownership. Do I have ownership for the job I have taken? Come what may, I'm going to finish that. Ability to take responsibility, the confidence I show, enthusiasm, assertiveness. I'm just giving some examples. So these are all basically what is in somebody's persona, the personal traits. So these are necessarily inborn, but this can be built, picked up, en route. So make it a point to have these positive attitude and traits. More than that, this is very, very applicable for a management student. In fact, my colleagues, again, Dr. Harish and Professor Muralidhara talked about this. You have to be a well-rounded personality. I won't perhaps be saying this for a science program like for a virologist or for an aerospace engineer, because it's more into domain, depth of knowledge, how good I am in designing something or creating a vaccine. But when it comes to a manager, the expectation of any recruiter is that candidate is well-rounded. So this will help you again, these 2 years in a good management institute, participate in various activities apart from academics. Academics important, no doubt, but slightly go beyond that. Take interest in organizing management fests and club coordination, various clubs. So this gives you or helps you to build some of the soft skills, even perhaps if you're not having them with you already, like resolving a conflict, like coordination, preparing a budget, taking no for an answer, convincing others. So do all those things, take part in cultural activities, and even a simple leadership role, like putting your hands up and saying, I'll be the class representative for one semester. So that gives you this confidence. And when these things appear in the CV, not alone that, it goes beyond that, automatically, this gives you the confidence and enthusiasm to talk to the recruiter when that happens in your campus. Of course, coordination activities. Moving on, this is the second part. I am going to capture very quickly with respect to certain sectors. See, some of you could be BBA, BCom, engineers, or life sciences, whatever. Definitely you'll have some idea. This is the area I'm going to proceed with respect to my career after my 4 semesters or 2-year management program. So you can perhaps look at, depending upon which area you want to go into, start building these skills. If I'm going into relationship management, CRM stands for customer relationship management or sales. Definitely what is required is relationship building. Am I good at that? Can I do something in these 4 semesters to become strong if I'm going to look at a sales role, if that is going to be my passion? Of course, communication, outgoing personality, persuasive skills. It's not easy, sales is not easy. So do I have the persuasive skills so that I don't give up easily? High energy levels. So these are the essential things what recruiters look for during an interview. beyond the knowledge part or the domain part if they come for a sales profile. So keep these things in mind. Slightly on the other end of the spectrum is business research. I need not be outgoing. However, I have to have my good analytical skills, problem solving. Am I able to write a good research report? Ability to handle data. Of course, knowledge of some tools like Excel is going to help you. So this is the other end of the spectrum with respect to research and analytics roles. If you're keen in that, please ensure that in these 4 semesters, you start building on these skills. Some other example like this again with respect to marketing, B2B stands for business to business. This how good are you negotiating? Because this is not an individual you're talking to. You're talking to an organization or a company. So they are tough negotiators. So how good are you in making that company look at your service offering or the product? Obviously, the knowledge of the product and service offering goes, takes a very important role. And how good are you in making a presentation? And obvious time management skills. Moving on, FMCG retail. This again is account management. I'm given a particular account. How good I'm handling that account for that product or service. Ability to multitask, adjusting to fast-paced environment. So the different recruiters, when they come representing their companies, it could be FMCG or retail. So they're all professionals. So they look at these skills and they have in abundance all these skills. So if that matches, then the job is yours. The other end is IT, ITES. Obviously, the domain fundamentals are going to be very important here. Excel, I'm not tired of repeating this. This is one skill, come what may, all of you should possess. Project management, activity management. How best you are able to break down the work structure and plan your activities with milestones and activity plan. And of course, the analytical skills. If you want to have a consulting role, yes, again, it is analytical skills, attention to detail, certain amount of creativity, problem solving ability, a grasp of the situation. See, if I take a role as a consultant, I should first of all understand what exactly is the problem situation for my client. So that requires a lot of grasping ability. I may not be, very perfect in his domain or her domain, but overall picture, helicopter view, as talked to by my colleague. So that is what is exactly required for a consulting profile. And of course, human resources. This is something very important, which resembles that of soft skills. Communication as a manager of HR, I'm able to negotiate, and I'm able to counsel some of the employees, tactful handling of situation. This is again a skill, whether you can build up in these 4 semesters, excellent judgment and conflict resolution. So I picked up some 7, 8 sectors. So if any of these sectors interest you, it will be a good idea so that it's good, by day 1 or semester 1, you have some idea. This is the area I would like to look for a job and build a career on that. So these are the requirements for that. So I'm going to stop here. And before that, let me wish you all the very best and happy planning. Thank you so much. And thank you, Giridhar. I'll stop sharing now.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. So I guess the soft skills and hard skills part are most important for now because the entrance examinations are going on and one after the other students are getting ready to attend GD, PI and whatever else. So the soft skills, hard skills part is the one major takeaway, at least I will take from this session. We'll take questions now. You can pose any question to any of the professors. If you have specific questions to one professor, you can also mention that in the chat and I'll make sure to ask them to the professors. We do have some of the questions, so let me start with the first. Muhammad Imtiaz Alam asks, I have never done any management thing whole life and I've never led any team and I'm a shy and introvert person. Should I do an MBA?
Yeah, shall I answer that?
Sure, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, sorry, I didn't get to your name. Yeah, broadly, yes. There are a number of answers to this. Firstly, when you do an MBA program, there will be so many occasions when you will have to interact with people, team up with people, make presentations before the class and so on. A lot of your shyness, etc., will go away. That is one. And that way you will become more balanced. Instead of being all completely shy and introverted, you will shift a little bit towards being extroverted. At the same time, I will say that your basic personality will not change. You will still largely be an introvert, okay, but with some shift, some change in your behavior. And that is good enough. A manager doesn't necessarily have to be an extrovert. I recommend there is one TED talk, I think it is called The Power of Introverts by Susan Kine. It has some more than 10 million views. You please see that. That will motivate you and inspire you a great deal. On a personal note, let me tell you, I am by nature an introvert myself. And let me tell you, when I participated in the group discussion in IIM way back in 81, I hardly opened my mouth at all. The topic was how to attract lot of foreign tourists to India. So as usual, there was a big fish market. People were shouting, we should have more hotel rooms. We should have a lot of five-star hotel rooms. We should have more flights, blah, 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 blah. Fortunately, GD was not an elimination round. Immediately after that, there was an interview. They asked me, Harish, why is it you hardly spoke in the GD at all? I said, whatever others were talking didn't make much sense. If our the places are so dirty and people are defecating everywhere and foreigners feel disgusted coming to the in India, regardless of how many hotels you have, how many flights you have, people will not come. Okay, it was just, I'm giving you just an example, not that it works always. And I got admission into 2 of the 3 IIMs that were there at that point of time. So don't be shy because you're an introvert. Go ahead, make your life, do an MBA. That's my advice.
I just want to add one thing, but I say you may be an introvert, but then many of these admission tests have a GD component. So where you need to talk. If you don't talk, then people will not come to know what you are and what you know. So some minimum amount of opening of mouth you need to do. If you think that people will guess what you are, then it will be difficult for you. So you need to practice, you interact with more people, get into groups, right? Get out of your introvert nature. That's going to help you both in getting admission as well as doing well in the business school as well as later on.
Definitely, it won't work where group discussion is an elimination round, which quite
Yeah.
often it
So
is.
you need to open up.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a great, knowledgeable person, so I'm not going to talk. Let them guess what I am. That may not work. So you have to open up.
Makes sense. There should be some balance between the introversion and extroversion that will make the candidate cross the GD stage and move towards further stages. That is always a better stance.
Yeah.
Thank you, professors. The next question is from Rangarajan. Are academic achievements such as GPA the only criteria to be considered as a top student in the B schools, or are there any other factors that can play a role?
Okay.
Yeah, should I
Let me answer that question. Academic grades will be a reflection in terms of how seriously you did your program. And consistency in academic grades is definitely a plus point for you. But at the same time, don't think that only the toppers will get the best jobs. So there are many cases where even the students who may not have done wonderfully well in terms of their performance in the academics, they would have landed up with excellent jobs in very good companies, because companies look at an overall personality. They look at what you are as a person, what you bring to the table as a person who will add value. So it is not just academics. That's why I mentioned you specifically. Use opportunities for learning from all spheres and all quarters beyond the classroom. Don't become a bookworm. You have to learn from outside classroom activities, co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities, leadership positions in clubs. Then become a class rep, he explained to you. So take every opportunity in learning various skills outside the classroom. That will go a long way, because they are looking at persons who are well-rounded personalities, not just academicians. You are not going to become a teacher, right? You are going to become a manager.
Right. That makes sense. I wouldn't agree entirely with what Professor said about being a teacher, but the point is fine. Yeah. The next question is from Devprab Datta Rai. What is the market value of Pgpm degree of some of the IBS colleges?
Professor Venkatraman, I think, is the right person to tell.
Sure, right. When you talk about market value of the PGPM certifications by IBS, I will take it as the market recognition. Industry recognizes this PGPM completely across sectors, across recruiters. What they look for is the basic knowledge with respect to the management or domain, whether it's marketing, finance, or whatever. And of course, the skills and attitude and the well-rounded personality, period. So they don't really, if I'm talking about an industry perspective, about recruitment perspective, about job and career, it's just what you are. So that way, PGPM of IBS is a brand by itself. So no issues.
I just want to add one more point. You may be well aware that we have more than 50,000 alumni working in the most reputed companies both in India and abroad. So that is a testimony to the way the industry recognizes the programs and the students who come out of our programs and are able to contribute to organizations. And most of our recruiters are repeat visitors to our campuses. So that is based on the performance of our students in those organizations. So that what Professor Venkatraman mentioned, they look at what you bring to the table, what you bring to the organization. And ultimately, the MBA will be a good entry point, but later on, how you serve the organization, how you contribute to the organization makes a big difference. You should remember that. You get an edge, you get an entry, but later on, you have to prove in terms of what you add value to the organization.
Thank you for that answer, Professor. I think there is a parallel that those aspirants who wrote CAT can also gain from it. Just because you've written CAT and gained a good score doesn't mean we can be assured of a seat, or just because we've gotten a seat doesn't mean it can assure us of a good placement. So the hard work and the incremental efforts always matter more than anything else. Thank you for that answer, Professor. Next question is from Prabhu Mitra Reddy. In ICFAI Business School, is there a course Agriculture Business Management? Is there a course called Agriculture Business Management? Yes or no?
We don't have a course Agriculture Business Management, but many of the concepts that you learn in general management are equally applicable to agricultural management also. But we don't have a course specifically on agricultural business management.
Right. All right. So thank you for that. Akhil Reddy Bhima Varapu. I hope I got the name right. Sorry if I didn't. Please discuss about the skills required for product management.
Yeah, Dr. Harish is the right person.
The skills required for product management. I see. Okay. You see, when you say product management, it's a very broad area. A product manager is responsible for a particular product, regardless of whether it is a new product launch or an existing product. So in a way, he is a coordinator for the product, maybe right from R&D, product improvement or development, as the case may be, how it is packaged, the pricing, the distribution, the branding. He is somebody who is coordinating even research pertaining to the brand, to the product. Okay, he is somebody who is coordinating all this and is overall in charge of managing a product. He may not be doing the actual product related R&D or the production process or purchase of machinery for that or whatever it is, or the research, the consumer research and market research, but he may not directly do that, or the advertising, but he is the central point where all these things are coordinated. He takes inputs from people, probably gives his observations and guidance, puts it all together and sees that the product does well in the market. So a product manager requires a wide view of the various dimensions relating to the product. That in essence is what a product manager
So
will do and what he will
basically,
require.
you are the owner of that product range or product. So you take ownership to build that particular product range, its position in the market. And the most important skill that is required is one in terms of assessing the customer trends, the market trends. Then how do we keep track of that and position ourselves accordingly? And another thing is coordination with all departments. So he mentioned that you are basically coordinating with all departments. All departments in the organization, you should be capable of getting their help and taking it further.
Thank you for that answer, Professor. So, product management, I think there are no specific questions about any other role as such. There is a question by Vijay Srivatsan that asks, it is said that 93% of MBA graduates in India are unemployed. Is it true?
I don't think so. If I can try to answer the question, they are not unemployed. Definitely no. But maybe it could be employability. So that becomes the important index for any recruiter when they come. So that is one thing IBS tries to address. Are you employable? Are you performing on the job from day one? This we try to do it by the most relevant curriculum, what is useful for the industry, the various opportunities, what we give to the students for being a well-rounded personality, developing skills, imparting knowledge, training in the attitude, a combination of these things. Yes, definitely we focus on the employability of our students.
So just add to what Professor Venkatraman said, what you mentioned is that 90% of the MBAs are unemployed. It is not necessarily true. If you study in a good business school that equips you to be industry ready, then you can be assured of a good job in a good organization. And whatever you may be saying, there is a big demand from industry for management graduates at the right kind of candidates they need. So if you are the right candidates, you need not be worried about getting employed.
Makes sense. That there is always a candidate and culture fit that companies also look for when they're hiring. So when that is met, any candidate that they deem fit are recruited. Thank you for that answer. Next one is from Ankit Nag. How does the college or company view a gap year?
A gap year in academics or gap year in your experience events.
So,
right.
Professor,
as long as, yeah. Yes.
Just to give some context, this question gets repeated to us very often. People
Okay.
are worried about taking a break here in academics, or the fact that they took 1 year break just to attempt some entrance examination, and they're worried about the fact that they might not get the required admission or seat. So,
okay, that may not be a negative point, but definitely when you are seeking admission, no one expects you to take a full break and then prepare. Okay, and most of these tests you should be capable of handling it, on the fly, right? So you keep preparing during your study, whatever undergraduate studies you are doing. There is no need to take a break, right? You only keep practicing and honing, and none of us have taken a break because your time is very valuable, right? The only important thing that you have to remember is that you should be able to explain that gap very well. If you are able to give a convincing reply, you had a health issue, but don't try to bluff, right? Because they'll be able to see through that. If everyone says I have a health issue, so it is not likely to take you through. So be honest and explain to them what exactly caused that particular break. As long as you are able to convince the interviewer, whether you are attempting for an admission or in a job, they will not consider it as a negative point. It depends on how you put it across.
makes sense. This is something that we keep reiterating as well. A break or a gap is never a good option because there are other people who can write an exam while working as well. But as long as the reason is genuine, that shouldn't be an issue. Thank you for that, Professor.
Just to add,
Giridharan, just to add, this is not about admission, but later on when you get into an industry, The latest trend is that people want to work for 5 years, take a gap for 1 year, go around the world, come back, enrich oneself, right? And they continue, right? And many organizations are ready to accept that, because that is the way they say, okay, you're confident of getting a job back, but then you utilized it very well. You got an exposure, you went around the world, did some useful work. Maybe you did a social work, did a community work, did something useful. You became a better person. Naturally, your value will be, in fact, enhanced.
Right, sir. Right.
Just to add to that, there is a new terminology called contingent employees. So based on a project, based on a need, I work for company A. Once that is done, I go to company B. They hire me for my skills. Anyway, that apart, most companies, so long as you're able to explain that break, it could be for family reasons, it could be for higher studies, or it could be for whatever it is. So long as it is genuine, I mean, they don't worry much, not at all.
Right. Thank you, sir. Sachit Bala asks, do FMCG companies take only freshers, or those with 2-year work ex also get a job in that sector?
That's a good question. FMCG companies, whoever we have seen, even though they generally specify it as 0 to 2 years. So they keep their options open. When I say the fresher is 0 years experience, and if they find the students to have the basic knowledge and they are able to explain the work they have done during the internship, it need not be in the FMCG sector. But if they bring out that confidence to talk like a person who is having experience, so that they don't mind taking a fresher at all, because all these companies have a good, I'm talking about well-established companies, a well-structured training and induction program, which extend, they call it as Bhavishya program, 6 months, 9 months. So they take you through that. So in that sense, not necessarily.
One thing I want to add, that when you are having a work experience and you're seeking employment in a particular type of company, whether it is FMCG or whether it is an IT services company or a financial services company, they'll be looking at what is the relevance of that experience, right? So the relevance is extremely important. If it is going to add value, definitely there will be additional weightage for that. Okay, so it depends on what was your earlier experience and what kind of companies you are working on. And what I have is that many students would have had an experience in a particular type of assignment, but then they want to totally switch to a different line. Now, in that case, you may have to start from scratch. You may not get a big weightage for your experience. In that case, fresher will also join at the same place, and you will also be joining at the same position. So it has to be a relevant experience.
It has to be relevant, and Professor just talked about moving from one discipline to another, and there is a question on those lines. Sohail Khan asks, as there is a growing number of recruitment in the consulting profile, so I had a question that, can a non-engineer fresher opt for MBA in consulting? If yes, what are the skills required?
Yeah, I think Professor Venkatraman explained. He can take this.
Yeah, as I told you, consulting requires a certain amount of grasp of the situation, good communication, certain amount of creativity, analytical ability. If these are the basic skills or traits required for a good consultant to get an overall view of the project. It also involves project management. So I don't know any colleges offering MBA consulting as a specialization. I don't think so. But having done marketing or even finance or IT and systems, one can apply for a consulting role in campus recruitments when companies come. Only the skills displayed are what is required.
Yeah, some institute they offer elective in managing a consultancy kind of a role. So if you have done it, maybe it adds value. It depends on where you are studying and whether that particular institute offers a particular elective in consulting.
In fact, that reminds me, in IBS Bangalore, we have what is called a consultancy club. So that helps you to look at some small projects. Yeah. So where you can work with the industry. So these type of things like electives or these type of club activities, take part in those things. That helps a lot. That's the additional value when you compete with others.
Basically, you have, what we call as a T-based, set of domain skills, where you have a broad knowledge about various aspects of management, and you have a deeper knowledge about a specific aspect. So that is what is required in a consulting assignment. Okay, you need to be a generalist at the same time a specialist, right? So it's not, no consulting assignment comes in silos, that it is only a production kind of an assignment, or only an IT kind of an assignment, only HR kind of assignments, because you should be able to integrate various areas of expertise and then find a solution. They are looking at solutions, right? Whether IT solution may require change management, so you require HR and leadership skills in that, right? So organizational development skills. So you should be able to integrate from various disciplines and find solutions for customers' problems. That is what is most important.
Correct. There are multiple skills involved in every other job role that is being provided, and it's important to kind of be flexible and acquire new skills as a candidate progresses towards his career. Annapurna Anu asks, for agriculture graduate, which is the next best course in MBA a person should do? Because agriculture is traditional degree away from technology.
I would say it. Once you are doing an MBA, okay, maybe eventually you join a firm which has something to do with agriculture, maybe a food processing company, maybe an FMCG company which has food or beverages or something like that. It may happen, it may not happen. We are talking of a general MBA. We are not talking of a specialized MBA related to agriculture or rural management or something. So one may get a job like that. There may be some kind of continuity in that respect, but more often perhaps not. You have done your agricultural BSc or whatever that is there in the background, and then you do an MBA. You develop some interest. It may be HR, human resources management, or finance, or marketing, or whatever, and you take up, very likely you take up a job in some sector and in some domain that is of interest to you. Even if we see our own institute, while the vast majority are engineers, BCom, BBA, there are occasionally dentist, an MBBS, a B Pharma, bachelors in hotel management, and so on. People with other kinds of qualifications also get in. So if you are somebody who is prepared to move out of agriculture into something else, who is prima facie prepared, then we also have this biotechnology. People do biotechnology and then join management courses. They may or may not get back into the biotechnology field. So some people join management because they don't want to be a dentist or biotechnology or agriculture or whatever they studied at their UG level. So it, to some extent, it depends on your objective as well. So this is what I would give as an initial answer. Maybe some of my
I just
colleagues
want
would
to
add
add
other
what
dimensions
Dr.
to
Harish
it.
said. Okay, I just want to add what Harish said. See, now today agriculture, you can view it as a customer. Farmers and agricultural sector could be your customer. You may be providing finances to agriculture sector. You may be selling tractors to agriculture, right? So UK agriculture sector may be your customer, or agriculture sector may be your supplier. Like Big Basket sources directly, Reliance Retail sources directly items from farmers, right? So these kind of businesses require people who have a deep knowledge about agriculture and guiding these farmers in terms of how to manage things better, how to use technology and improve productivity and yield. There are organizations like NABARD, which are basically oriented towards helping farmers, and organizations which help farmers, financing them, etc. So there are several avenues, and there are multiple companies which actually market agricultural products, right? And you may also find some good roles in the government sector also. There may be many organizations who want people who are specialized in this particular background, and then they have a management background. I'll just give you an analogy. One of my classmates' wife is a dentist, okay, and he is also working in HUL, and she is also working in HUL, and she is basically a dentist. So I was wondering, what exactly does she do? So they have dental products. They make toothpaste, right? So she is basically a specialist and giving specialized knowledge related to that to the company, right?
Um, there are questions that are coming in, but I guess we are running slowly short of time. I'm just going to stop it from with one last questions to the professors, after which they'll have final words from their end. Professor, there was one interesting question that I saw in the chat. Why did you decide to move from your corporate careers to academia? What pushed you to do that shift? And what are the differences that you're facing between the corporate career and academia? I want each of you to answer your own experiences.
Yeah, Harish can start.
Yeah, okay. Why did I move from corporate sector to academics? Okay. Yeah, incidentally, I was in management consulting for a very long time, for about 20 years. And in management consulting, what I was doing was not very different from what I am doing now. So I used to do a lot of research, both primary as well as secondary, interact with the clients, write reports, and explain those or present them, justify whatever were my findings and recommendations. This was broadly the nature of work. In a way, you could say it was a lot of reading, studying, researching, writing, speaking, and so on. And the academics, if you're talking of teaching, the research that a faculty has to do and so on, it is not very different. So that way, my earlier career and this career, there is a lot of similarity. And it so happened, anyway, the details we don't have the time to get into. I applied and I found, yes, this works fine for me. This is also a career that I can take up. And I stuck in. And I'm there in this organization for the past 15 years now.
Okay. Now, you see, one of the things that right from the beginning, I was very much interested in acquiring knowledge and expanding knowledge by reading, etc. And I had specific interest in developing people. And academics and working as a faculty member and in a management institution gives you a lot of opportunities to develop people. So this is a unique position where you can help people learn new skills, right, and become a different person, and it gives you a lot of satisfaction. So compared to the industry, in terms of satisfaction, I can definitely tell you there, okay, you are measured by your results, your business, and you as an individual, what you are able to achieve to the organization. But the kind of satisfaction that you get by developing students and their achievements, and they come back and tell you that you played a role in developing me, and what I am today is because of part of it is because of you, then you feel very happy. So that is something which is unique to being a faculty member and an academician. But one thing that different from industry for an academician is that here you contribute yourself as an individual. In an industry, basically you manage many people, right? And a lot of things you are judged by what results you get ultimately, right? And you get the results by your own abilities, and also by managing others who may be better than you also, right? You have a good team, you are able to manage them well, you are able to get good name, right? He may not be a great person, he is able to manage others and lead them very well. Whereas when you are an academician, you have to be good and you have to deliver. You have to go into a classroom and then deliver, right? Unless you become a director or an academic coordinator, etc. As long as you are a teacher, you have to deliver. You will be judged by what you are. Yeah, over to Professor Venkatraman.
Yeah, sure. I come from an operations background, out and out, in 26 years. So that gave me, whichever companies I worked, at least two of them, we embraced the Japanese way of working with respect to manufacturing. So I used to work with a lot of Japanese consultants with respect to relaying out, single piece flow, just in time, Kanban, Kaizen, you name it. So interacting with those people, their amount of knowledge, the patience they show, how they guide, then that you get an idea of why not, you also become a consultant or a teacher, why don't you try that? So that sort of prompted me to look at a faculty position. But I got the best of both worlds. Since I'm also coordinating placements, I don't miss the industry at all. So I'm into academics as well as in industry now.
Any more questions?
I guess we are at the end of it. Professors, any final word from your end to all students and all the audience who are watching the session? And we're good to go. That's about.
Yeah. Harish, we'll start with Harish in the same order.
Yeah, okay. So prepare well, be positive, get into a good management institute. And that will be the gist of what I have to say. So over to Professor Muralidhara.
Yeah. So look at these 2 years as something a period which is going to transform you. Okay, make the best out of it because it is totally going to transform you, put you on a different trajectory in terms of a career. It's going to make a big difference. If you are a fresher, you are going to start off on a totally new trajectory. Right, what you are today and post MBA, you are going to be totally different and you'll start off in an organization in a different role altogether. And the kind of growth path what you are going to have is going to be totally different. So be prepared for it. At the same time, be ready to work hard, stretch yourself, challenge yourself, be ready to be challenged, and you'll reap the benefits.
Right.
Professor Venkatraman?
Yes, enjoy these 2 years because this is going to be a wonderful time period in your life, especially a management program. It's going to be an absolutely heterogeneous group. You will have your own domain like BCom or BBA or dentist or veterinary doctor or life sciences. So learn from each other, the cross learning, both knowledge wise as well as culturally, that's going to enrich you. And keep on picking up skills over these 4 semesters and become a well rounded personality. Stretch yourself, challenge yourself, and you will enjoy it.
That concludes the session on the right note. Thank you so much, Dr. Harish, Professor G.V. Muralidhara, and Professor Venkatraman. Thank you for taking your time off and staying through the whole of the session. Special thanks also to Dr. Sridhar, who's the Deputy General Manager at ICFAI Business School, and Mr. Jatin Tandon, who helped us coordinate this session. Thank you, everybody, for turning up for the session. Hope you have a great weekend. Thank you once again, professors. It was great having you here. Thank you for all your insights. Thank you once again.
Thank you. All the best to all the viewers.
Thank you very much and wish all the prospective MBA candidates the very best.
Thank you, aspiring managers. Good luck. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Giridharan.
Thank you, Mr. Giridharan, and all the best to all the students.
Thank you, professors. Thank you.